All right. And good morning. I'm back home. It was very nice to spend a week in Virginia with my brother and his family, and got to hang out with just my nephews, and I got to meet my little niece. So I had fun. And of course, I missed my dog. Yes, I missed him very much. And so I'm back home now. And honestly, I just feel really just I just feel really rejuvenated. I feel really excited to just go forward. That was a really much needed just time away. I've been wanting to go spend time and see them because I don't want to be the uncle that's on FaceTime all the time. So it was fun to hang out with them and play with them and go to the park, museums, all that good stuff. So it was it was good, and I'm back now, and the weather right now has been so nice. Last night when we went to the park, the sunset was very beautiful. It was very pink and purple, and it rained a little bit, and there was a rainbow, and so it was really nice to go at that time. And just I love the smell of just like rained earth. Um, I think the proper term is petrichor or something like that. Hi, buddy. Anyways, like I just love the smell, and there was a lovely breeze. So it was like like this is a perfect moment to come back home to, and just continue going forward with the momentum that I've been building. So speaking of momentum, I've been having a lot of ideas. As far as like what to tweak in the story, when to add more dialogue or things like that, or make sure I develop certain things of characters that I want to have developed. So um, it's not like a mountain load of things, but it's a good amount of important details, like for character moments, also closing up plot details, any plot holes. That's what I meant to say. Because there is one moment in the book where the one of the characters has a revolver, and I completely forget to mention it later on. And so it's like, well, that can make a big difference in a zombie story, you know. So, and I know where I need to make sure it's clear that they don't have that weapon anymore. So I know where it is. So as I'm working through it, I'm just adding in my notes so you can kind of see a little bit of my handwriting there. And it's actually a pink pen, not a red pen. I thought it was red, but whatever, it's fine. A pen's a pen. And so, yeah, I'm just gonna be grinding through a lot of working on the book here this weekend. And I kind of been wondering if I wanted to do this, so I'm just gonna do it. Um, I'm gonna read the prologue, and the prologue from this book. The book, it's called Fading Death. I talked about it a little bit in 2 videos ago, and I wanted to read the prologue. And if you find it interesting, great. If you don't find it interesting, that's fine. That's okay. It's not a long prologue. The prologue itself, it's meant to sound like like you're listening to a radio broadcast, which I kind of did talk about when I was talking a little bit more about the overall narrative of the book. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and read it. The sound of crackling AM static, a needle searching for a signal. For a moment, there is nothing but the hiss of empty airwaves. Then a voice, calm and steady, but etched with exhaustion, cuts through. If, any, if anyone is listening, this is John, broadcasting from Acadia National Park on the coast of Maine. We're transmitting on all available channels. Today is day 36. 36 days since the first confirmed report came out of Kentucky. 36 days since the world started falling apart. The official channels have gone silent. We have to assume what's left of the government is focusing on contingency. Don't expect a rescue. From what we can gather, the cities are lost. They've become dead zones, and the roads connecting them are graveyards. The dead, they're everywhere. We see more of them along our perimeter fences every day. They're wandering. But there is life here. We were isolated when it happened. Park staff and a few visitors. We fortified our position. We have fresh water, supplies, and walls that have held. We have built a community for those looking to start over, for those willing to work to rebuild a piece of what we've lost. If you can hear this message, if you are out there and you have nowhere else to go, we have room. Make your way north to Mount Desert Island. Find us. But I have to be clear. If you are safe where you are, stay there. Barricade your doors. Fortify your position. The journey itself may be more dangerous than whatever you're facing now. We will be here. We will broadcast this message every day, at dawn and at dusk, for as long as we can. You are not alone. The static swells for a moment. God help us all. So yeah, that's the prologue. Um, and it's meant to kind of be like towards the end of the broadcast that they always play, because there are moments in the story where they're broadcasting and it's just other portions of the message, or they'll try to share updates that they can, um, just about what they find, which is pretty important later on in the story. um, so yeah, that's the prologue, and it feels a little, I don't know, like just a kind of satisfying to read it out loud and hear my own writing. So, you know, if you're a writer, I would recommend that. If you're working on your own stuff, just read it aloud. Hear how it sounds coming out of your mouth. They're your words, you know. And if you wince, if you cringe at any moments, then that's fine. As long as you've written it down, just keep going forward. So that's something that I like to try to do, is when I'm working on my stuff, is I'll read it aloud. I mean, that's what I've been doing so far with the chapters that I've worked on. Is I'll just sit right there on the couch and I'm reading it aloud. Because when you're reading it aloud, like, it just helps me be so much more focused on the on the on the on the story, on the script, on the page. Whereas if I'm reading it silently, I might have music in the background. Maybe you've noticed the little underwater ocean that I've got going on in the background. I just like to put stuff on YouTube and let it go in the background. But when I'm reading it aloud, I'm like 100% dialed in, to the work that I'm doing, and that makes a big difference for me, to be able to just, I don't know. I'm sure there's some kind of neuroscience behind it, um, where you're just so much more engaged on the task at hand when you're engaging more of your senses. So, I'm holding the paper, I'm looking at the words, I'm saying them aloud. So, that's speech, sight, touch, all in sync. I could even smell the paper if I want to. It doesn't smell like anything, but you know what I mean. I'm not going to taste it. I'm not going to eat my paper. Why would I do that? My dog would eat it, but I'm not. So, anyways, yeah, I wanted to just, I was wondering if maybe I'll read the prologue some other video, or maybe I'll do it some other time. But it's like, no, like, we're working through this now, so let's just do it now. And that's the prologue. So, if you listen to it and if you enjoyed it, then great, thank you. If you have any thoughts on it, let me know in any comments. I would appreciate it. And yeah, so I want to just work through the story here, and just get it all done. Have all my notes added in. I've got some notes on the computer also that I'm going to be transferring and putting over into the book itself. So yeah, it's I'm just, all of the skills and knowledge that I have built up over the years. I'm just putting it all together to be able to optimize my workflow, because I had to find what works for me for writing. And the fact that I've got this stack of papers right here, you know tells me that, okay, I have a method that's worked to get me this far. So now I just have to go through and finish up all the initial edits that I want to put in, and then I'll be sitting down and just going through, and I'm going to have my hard copy here on the side next to me as I'm working on the computer, and I'm just going to be going through each chapter, writing it all out, making sure I cover any notes that I added in. And then once that's done, the next step is going to be looking for an editor who can give it a professional read through, and give me feedback on just like I talked about it already before, but just looking at the story structure, the logic of the narrative, the flow, you know, um, the actions of the characters, the dialogue of the characters, because I want to make sure that no character sounds exactly the same as another one. So that's a really important thing for me is getting dialogue down, and I like writing dialogue. I do, and I'll tell you the way that I do like to write dialogue. It's kind of funny. I'll just I won't even bother putting in a whole lot of exposition and anything. Like if I know that I want to work on dialogue for a moment, I'll just start writing, you know, as if I'm listening to a conversation, and I'll just keep on going through, you know, making sure things are in quotations, so that way I know that that's the dialogue. And I've done this a few times for other projects and other books that I'm working on, and I'll have like 4 or 5, 6 pages of just like mostly dialogue, and then it's like, dang, now when I add in all the other details, you know, that's going to be flushed out much larger. But you know, dialogue is really important, because when you're reading what a character is saying and how they speak and what they're talking about, you know, that gives you the window to their mindset. And I like it. It's fun, to be able to work on dialogue, and it's just as important to make sure that you look at the dialogue again, to make sure that you know, the way somebody speaks is consistent to that character. You know, like if somebody talks with slang, do they just suddenly stop using slang, or you know, vice versa? So it's like, why would their dialogue change? You know, it's one thing if they're like imitating, or you know, just mocking, or just being funny, you know, because people do that all the time. But if they're a more serious person, then they just suddenly start talking, you know, less serious. It's like, well, why did that happen? You know, so just got to make sure those things are covered. Which is why it comes back to what I was talking about earlier. I recommend reading your work aloud. That way you could hear how it sounds, and then you really realize, like, oh dang, like they all sound the same. But that's good. You want to reach that point, because if they all sound the same to you as the author, then guess what? It's going to sound the same to the readers out there, and people are just going to find that boring and lazy. It's going to be really hard to follow along the story, um, where every character talks the same. So yeah, I guess that's the main thing I wanted to talk about today. Yeah, I got back late Wednesday night, so it's Friday morning now. So I'm just gonna do some cleaning, because I need to. Like, I want to do some sweeping and mopping, a lot of scrubbing, um, just getting it all cleaned up for the weekend and the week ahead. So that's gonna be my tasks for today, and then we'll go to the park later on, um, and just continue working on the book here, and share updates. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope your writing is going well as well. Like, that was repetitive. Anyways, yeah, you know, best of luck. If you have any questions, or if you have some insight on things that you do that really help you write out your dialogue, or write your stories, you know, share with them with me. I would love to hear them. And yeah, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll keep on sharing updates as I'm working along. So hopefully by next week, I'll have maybe like half of it done. I'll, you know, just work on, you know, a few chapters every day. And, you know, sometimes I'll do a lot more and space it throughout the day. So yeah, that's it. I'm glad to be back, and I'm excited to continue working on getting this book published. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Bye bye.